All right, welcome to Life Extension Live. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Smith, and I'm here with Dr. Crystal Gossard, my co-host. How are you?
I'm well, Dr. Mike. How are you?
I'm doing very well myself. Thank you for asking. So today we're going to talk about drinking. Oh, I know. It's so, we at the end of the day, we have to remember that alcohol, the main chemical in there is ethanol, right?
Right.
It's hard on the body. It technically is a poison.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you're talking about occasional drinking, having that binge weekend once in a while, there's things you could do. There's tips and nutrients, right, that can help to just minimize those potential negative effects from alcohol. So that's what we're talking about today. But there is one disclaimer. Right?
Yes.
One disclaimer.
Thank you, Dr. Mike.
Yeah. The best thing to do if you want to avoid the bad effects of alcohol is what, Dr. Crystal?
Don't drink.
Don't drink.
Period.
But with that said, we're all adults. I enjoy some red wine. You know that, Dr. Crystal. I know you like some nice wine once in a while, right? So again, it's okay. Here's some things that can help to minimize those effects. So Robson, if you want to throw that slide up now, we threw Robson off a little bit. Hang in there, Robson. All right, so we're going to talk about how much is too much.
Yes.
It actually causes a hangover, and we're going to look at like different forms of alcohol that might be a little worse for that, right? Mm-hmm. And then we got some drinking tips, and this is not about drinking like more. It's about helping you to drink less and slower. And then we also have some nutritional support that we'll cover today. So let's get right into this. How much alcohol is too much? And I think people are going to be surprised what the government recommends to be a healthy amount every day.
Right. And I was really surprised to see that there are recommendations, the 2025 Dietary Guidelines for Americans made recommendations. And I think we have a slide for that as well, Robson, that you can put up. So 1 drink or less in a day for women and 2 drinks or less in a day for men. So these graphics are directly from the Dietary Guidelines for Americans. And so, yes, it's shocking. It's lower than.
It's a lot lower than what people think, right? Come on, let's be honest. After a long week, it's Friday. At least pre-pandemic, you might go to the happy hour with your coworkers, and I'm pretty sure they're drinking more than 2. I've seen it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of people will say things like, well, yeah, I drink, but all I drink is beer, as if the other forms are worse, right? So if you want to put that slide back up, Robson, I wanted to talk about this real quickly, right, Dr. Crystal? It doesn't really matter, right? 12 ounces of beer, that's the standard based on the USDA, is 5% alcohol per volume. 5 ounces for wine, that's about 12 or so alcohol by volume. And then what is it? 1.5 ounces is considered a basic shot for your heavy liquor, right? At the end of the day, if you do the math, 1 beer, 1 glass of wine, 1 shot, they all have the exact same amount of ethanol that goes into your body.
Right. So, just because you're not drinking, a spirit or a distilled spirit, you can still have those negative outcomes. You think you have a glass of wine and you're feeling bad, and you think, oh my goodness, it was only a glass of wine.
Right. Yeah. But you could still
the equivalent of taking a shot, and you're probably drinking more wine than you think you're drinking as well.
And I think also where people get in trouble with the hard liquor, the shots, the drinks there is that I think they tend to drink those faster as well, right? A shot's a shot. If you ever do shot, it's done. And then you do maybe too much of those too fast. And that's a key thing. When we get to the tips, we're going to talk about that, right? Yes. Too much too fast makes for a bad next day.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I like that, Dr. Mike.
Too much, too fast, bad next day. So let's talk about, when we do, again, regardless of what your preference is, when you drink, what is actually happening in the body?
Well, one, alcohol is absorbed very quickly in the body. I mean, it can be absorbed in the stomach. Typically, absorption occurs in the small intestines, but for alcohol in the stomach, it's going straight into the bloodstream. That's why you feel it so quickly. That alcohol then gets turned into a very toxic, if you think alcohol or ethanol is poison, what it's turned into, acetaldehyde, is even more toxic to the body.
Yeah.
So the liver, starts its process of trying to detox that alcohol from the body. And so the slower you drink, we're able to detox one drink in about an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you drink it slow, then you're less likely to have a lot of those toxins building up.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, what's really getting us, so the liver is there to detox anything that comes into your body, basically, right? So the liver senses this ethanol, starts to break it down. You get these metabolites, and it's those metabolites that really are causing a lot of that nausea, that hangover type effect, and just not good for you overall. I mean, there's studies that show these metabolites are, as you said, carcinogens.
Yes. So the alcohol also, some of the gastrointestinal issues is because it's directly kind of damaging the gastric lining in the stomach. So you got a lot of irritation, a lot of inflammation in the digestive tract, but also in the body, a lot of inflammation. So that's, some of what we feel when we've had too many drinks too quickly is a lot of that inflammation and that oxidative stress that's building up in the body.
Yeah, you're almost, the next morning you're inflamed. There's lots of inflammation. Sometimes you may feel a little swollen because that's all that oxidative stress. And so those are so we can avoid it. There's things you can do, right? There's some tips we're going to get into and some nutrients, that can help. But before we do that, you taught me something when we were preparing for this that I didn't know about, that some research is showing that a hangover, when you're not drinking anymore, it's the next morning, but when you're hungover like that the mental capacity that you have could be just as bad when you were drinking.
Yes. And actually, I was going to mention that evidence from one study suggests that mental functioning is no better and possibly worse during a hangover than intoxication. So what that means, you're having slower reaction times, your attention is down. So, if you're, we say don't drink and drive, maybe don't drive the next day either.
Yeah, just take a break, right? Get your Netflix, take some of the supplements we're going to talk about, watch a movie and relax, right?
That's right.
All right, let's get into some of the drinking tips. And again, this isn't like college where we're, teaching people how to drink faster and more. This is more about how to control it, right? Drinking tips so that you can enjoy the alcohol without maybe some of the bad effects. So what's your number one drinking tip?
Eat.
Yes.
I learned
that one early. I learned that one early in my life.
But, it's so funny. I know people who avoid eating because they want to feel the alcohol faster. That is the worst thing. The food will actually slow down some of the absorption of that alcohol. When you slow it down, again, it gives the body a chance to kind of metabolize those toxins so that you don't have the toxins building up.
Yeah. The second tip was to drink moderately, obviously. But the key part to this is slowly. We've mentioned this several times before, so this is probably pretty important. Slow down, right? If it's a Saturday afternoon, you have some friends over, you're barbecuing or grilling some hamburgers, you're out by the pool or wherever, the beach, the park, maybe one drink an hour or something like that. Like slow it down, right?
Right. And the trick to doing that is between each drink, have a glass of water. Yeah, so that slows it down. Or if you're mixing your drink, pour a lot of the mixer. So make it, a full glass versus kind of having those shots. So then you can slowly sip on your drink and And yeah, if you're outside and you're barbecuing, the alcohol is not what you need to hydrate yourself if you're hot.
Definitely be careful. The sun it has an effect on it, doesn't it? Boy, when you're hot and you drink a lot, you feel it a lot more, I think, the next day. Hey, speaking of how you pour the drinks, right? Let's talk about that for a second.
Yes.
Because I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that probably most people, me included, we probably pour more than what the standard is for like wine or a shot or whatever. What do you think?
Of 100%. And that's kind of another tip, is to measure your pour. A glass of wine, it's about, I think, about 4 ounces.
I
When you
think
think
5
4 or
ounces.
5 ounces.
Yeah. Which is just about like that much in the whole wine glass. It's not
Right.
It's not up here. Like
So
this.
if you fill your wine glass, that's probably 2 drinks.
Yeah.
And so if you are a woman, you're already over your allowance for the day. If you have 1 glass of wine, it's really more like 2.
Yeah, a bottle of wine should get you around 5 or so 5-ounce glasses. So if you're having your wine and you had 2 glasses and the bottle's gone already, you're pouring way too much, and you could slow that down as well. We already talked about matching, each drink with a glass of water. I like that a lot. But here's I think an important tip. Tell us what you think about taking preemptively, right? Something like aspirin or acetaminophen.
Don't do it.
No.
Stay away. The NSAID medications can be irritating to the stomach lining. So now you are, irritating it with the medication as well as the alcohol. So avoid NSAIDs. Acetaminophen, and that's like your Tylenol, is even worse.
Yeah, boy.
Because you have that acetaminophen is depleting the one nutrient that's needed to detox the acetaldehyde. So the NAC that's needed to help the liver to detox, those metabolites of alcohol, you're having that depleted.
Yeah, that's going to be rough on your liver. There's even cases of people after a binge drinking, taking Tylenol and going to the hospital with acute liver failure. So you have to be very, very careful with those kind of things. When you look at, now we already taught the audience that whether it's beer, wine, liquor, if you're following the standard pour, right, it all has the same amount of ethanol. But me included in this, I think most people would say that may be true, but how come beer doesn't cause as bad as a hangover as, say, red wine or as a shot? So is there differences there? And maybe it's not necessarily the amount of ethanol. Could it be the other things that companies put into their drinks?
100%, Dr. Mike. There are these chemicals, congeners, that are created during the fermentation process. And they are also designed to alter the color, the flavor of the alcohol. So you do find that the darker alcohols, the red wines, the darker cognacs, will have more of those chemicals. And in research, they are more likely to make you feel bad versus the lighter colors, or even like the beer. So, the lighter, the white wines, or like the tequilas or the vodkas, those are less likely, or they have less of those chemicals that would cause kind of that hangover effect.
Yeah. Now, of course, if you're drinking too much too fast, all of that is out the window.
Exactly.
It doesn't really matter at that point. All right, let's get to some important nutrients for really helping your body metabolize ethanol. That's what it comes down to, is helping the liver, helping your body to reduce that inflammation, reduce that oxidative stress, minimize the negative effects of some of those metabolites, right? And the first one on the list here is clove extract. Tell us about that.
Yes, clove is one of those nutrients that we love. It's very flavorful and beneficial for digestion, but there is research showing that it helps the body to detox the alcohol. There's one study that I love to to talk about a single dose of 250 milligrams of clove bud extract taken 15 minutes before drinking alcohol. And note, the alcohol consumption was the equivalent to about 6 shots.
That's a lot. That's good. That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot. But having the clove led to a lower blood level of acetaldehyde, that's the metabolite of alcohol, and less depletion of your detox enzymes. So basically, you used up less of those liver enzymes to detox that alcohol. And of course, that is compared to the group that had the 6 shots worth of alcohol without the clove.
Right. So if you're going to go out for the night, and you know you are, or you definitely know there's a happy hour coming up with your company and your colleagues, maybe taking the clove before getting to the restaurant or the bar. So
Right.
this would be a before nutrient.
Exactly.
Now the next one, as a matter of fact, the next two we're going to talk about, I think are just good in general as daily supplements. But you can increase the dose if you know you're going to have a night out in the town. The first one is N-acetylcysteine. Tell us about that.
One of my favorite, also known as NAC or NAC. It is a powerful antioxidant, and it is helping to increase glutathione, one of the body's most important internally produced antioxidants needed to help to just general detox. So yes, Dr. Mike, it's one of those nutrients that you should just have in a daily routine, in your daily supplement regimen, just to help to detox the world around you.
Right. So I take 600 milligrams a day of NAC or NAC. I've been doing that for a long time. It's been a part of my regimen for many years, but you can go up to 1200. So what I do, if I know, okay, I'm having some friends over, we're going to be grilling, we're going to be out by the pool, I might drink a little bit more, I'll increase that dose that day to the 1200. So that way I'm just giving myself extra coverage. Now, then the next day, I just go back down to my normal, 600 milligrams. So that's when you can play with a little bit.
Yes, and there's research with detox, and also research in the journal Alcohol and Alcoholism, a 2020 study, a recent study showed that it may even, and of course we have to be careful saying this, but the study researchers felt like it may lead to less of an addictive capacity for alcohol with NAC.
Yeah, sounds like a lot more research is needed there, but that's an interesting finding, right? So that'll be something to follow for sure. The second one is silymarin. This is a classic liver support nutrient. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, it helps with overall detox. It helps to increase detox enzymes. Many of you know it as milk thistle, and it's one of the combination of those beneficial compounds found in milk thistle. And again, it's something that can help with overall supporting the liver's capacity to remove toxins from the body.
Yeah. Classic go-to liver function support nutrient, right? And a lot of great research over several years showing the benefit of silymarin. Of course, don't forget basic things. B vitamins are also great if you know you're going to go out in the town, right? Maybe load up on some Bs. That's safe to do. They're water soluble. They're not going to build up. Take some extra Bs. Definitely like thiamine, niacin. Those are really helpful when it comes to liver support. So that's your clove is the before, right? And then the NAC, the silymarin every day, maybe increase those doses if you know you're going to go out on the town, and then just good B vitamins all the time, right? Those are really good suggestions. Wow, that was great information. Again, at the end of the day, whether it's occasional drinking, going out on the town, maybe for a special celebration, we want to protect our body from the negative effects of drinking alcohol. And I think we gave them some good tips and nutrients.
Yes. And if you all have any questions, feel free to leave us a comment in the chat, and we'll be happy to address those questions as well.
Yeah. We have a protocol that goes into a lot more detail of all these, and matter of fact, other nutrients as well, more than what we just talked about here. So that's lifeextension.com/alcohol. lifeextension.com/alcohol. There's a whole protocol on how to minimize the effects of drinking. Dr. Crystal, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Dr. Mike.
Everyone watching, we appreciate it. Thank you. See you next time.